What's up, everybody? It's Corey, host of the Grease Pole Podcast. Appreciate you taking part. Welcome back to the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you're an Eagles fan. And even if not, thanks for sticking around for a little bit. And drop a like on this video. Appreciate you taking part. Now, more Super Bowl 57 talk, right? That's one game left. That's what we got. And, you know, we're a pod that loves to rank shit. I think everybody loves a good list, at least most of us. So any reason I can find to put a list together, I'm going to jump at that shit. And I saw online, I can't remember who it is, or I'd give them credit, it doesn't matter. It was some big media outlet. And Jim Morrison, whoever controls the media controls the mind, right? So they don't need credit for it anyway. But the point being, the idea was whoever was ranked all 44 starters from 44 to 1. And I was like, that's fucking cool. But I don't know if it was my OCD or what. I was like, man, it was kind of hard to follow when you've got 44 people up there. So for me, the way that I wanted to do that was I took that idea and kind of said, let's split it up and let's do the Eagles offense and the Chiefs defense together, obviously head to head, and then do the Chiefs offense and the Eagles defense, which will come more than likely tomorrow. As you're watching this video after it gets released. So that's how I wanted to do it. Kind of an all 22 instead of an all fucking 44. I figured it would be easier for everybody to follow, and not everybody has 30 minutes to watch somebody rank 44 motherfuckers on YouTube. If you do, thank you, and you're the type of person I hope hits that subscribe button. But even if you're not, I'd appreciate it if you do. And let's go ahead and get into the countdown here, as we're going to go from 22 to 1. It's the only way you do a list. You end with number 1. And we're going to start with the Eagles offense and the Chiefs defense here with number 22, Derek Nottie. And he's a run-stopping specialist at defensive tackle, and this hasn't been his best season, which has been overshadowed a lot by the year Chris Jones is having. But against the Eagles, who might have the best rushing attack in the NFL, this is something that could present an issue for Kansas City. Number 21, Quez Watkins. The former 6th-round pick out of Southern Miss, a.k.a. Brett Favre U, is at his best and most effective when he's able to utilize his speed to take the top off the defense. Now, he's got to be accounted for because he's capable of catching bombs, but otherwise, unless he's stretching the defense out, he's not incredibly impactful. So I love Quez Watkins, but he comes in at 21. Number 20, Leo Chenal. The 3rd-round pick played in every game for the Chiefs and even sacked Trevor Lawrence in the divisional round. Now, he's caught on towards the end of the season, and at one point, he was the highest-graded defensive rookie this season. He's solid against the run, but he's one of those guys that will only get better with time, and as of right now, he doesn't have a ton of NFL experience for the Chiefs defense. Number 19, George Karlaftis. One of the Chiefs' 2 first-round picks this past April. Karlaftis didn't come out of the gate strong, but he's picked it up on the edge as the season's progressed. He's got some tools to work with, but isn't super refined as a pass rusher yet, so it's unlikely that he'll make a shit ton of noise against either Lane Johnson or Jordan Mailata. His best chance to have an impact in this game would be against the run. He's a good run-stopping edge rusher for Kansas City. Number 18, Willie Gay. Now, he's more of a linebacker that Steve Spagnuolo will drop into coverage, as he's not awesome against the run. But, and that's not going to bode well for Kansas City if Stoutland University gets it moving in that running game. Number 17, Justin Reed. Having come over from Houston, he's had a nice season and has made the loss of Tyrann Mathieu suck a little less. But he's still probably, if you had to pick one out of the Chiefs' young secondary, he's probably still the weak link back there for Steve Spagnuolo. Number 16, Juan Thornhill. He's turned out to be a nice pick for Kansas City after a rough rookie season in 2020. I think he's the superior safety for Steve Spagnuolo's defense, and you've seen it throughout the course of his career. If you've watched him play, he's capable of coming up with that occasional turnover for the Chiefs. Number 15, Nick Bolton. And yes, he's undersized at linebacker, but he can do a little bit of everything for Kansas City. His speed's going to have to be there for the Chiefs in this game, as he's the linebacker that Spags can rely on that can both cover and stop the run in this matchup. Number 14, L'Jarius Sneed. And he's been one of their best picks in recent memory. Snead's a ball hawk. He's one of those guys that can line up in the slot or on the perimeter anywhere and be effective against anybody. He's a pesky, big-bodied corner who's got the potential to hold, say, a Devonte Smith to a less than awesome night on the outside for the Chiefs. Number 13, Isaac Seumalo. There's no weak spot along the Eagles' offensive line, but if you had to pick sort of the expendable one of the bunch, for lack of a better term, it's Seumalo. That said, he's still great, particularly run blocking, and he's probably going to cash in big time in free agency this offseason. Number 12, Trent McDuffie. Kansas City's other rookie first-rounder this year out of UW has been outstanding, and he and Snead form an awesome young tandem for the Chiefs. McDuffie can cover anybody, and like Snead, he's versatile and can line up anywhere on the field, either on the outside or in the slot. So he is another chess piece for Steve Spagnuolo to use with this defense. Number 11, Frank Clark. If you're a Flyers fan, remember how Danny Briere was nicknamed Mr. Playoffs? The same goes for Frank Clark, who's plenty good in the regular season, but always seems to turn it up a notch in the playoffs. He's sitting third all-time in postseason sacks, and he brought down Joe Burrow 1.5 times in the AFC Championship game a week and a half ago. Number 10, Miles Sanders. Another upcoming free agent for the Eagles. You know, Sanders enjoyed his best season of his NFL career this year with over 1,000 yards rushing and double-digit touchdowns for the first time. Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen approached the running game by a committee, though, and Kenny Gainwell's been the hot hand in the playoffs. He's led the Eagles in rushing, but still, Sanders can do it all. He's the starter, and when he gets going behind that O-line, he can break off 6-7 yards per touch with ease. I think the Eagles' easiest path to victory is to run the ball. If Spags' defense continues to do what he's done all year, and if that's the case, you're going to need Sanders to have a big game if you're the Eagles. Number 9, Jordan Mailata. He's got such a great backstory. You know, a massive motherfucker at 6'8", 360, and when he gets moving in the run, he's as dangerous and fun to watch as anyone. And, you know, while he's improved in pass pro, he still allowed 6 sacks this year, which isn't awful, but it's the highest among the Eagles' offensive line. And we've already mentioned what Frank Clark is capable of on the edge for Kansas City. Number 8, Devonte Smith. What a year it's been for the second-year wideout and former Heisman Trophy winner. And by default, A.J. Brown garners the attention of the defense first, which allowed Devonte to set the franchise record for most catches in a season with 95. He's an elite route runner, and he can go up and get the ball with the best of them. And he's been the hot target during the playoffs, with A.J. Brown kind of dealing with the lingering injury throughout the playoffs so far. So Devonte Smith coming in at number 8. Number 7, Dallas Goedert. He's not the best tight end that will see the field the night of Super Bowl 57, but he's definitely one of the best in the NFL. We've said for years on the pod that Goedert provides a different element to the offense than Zach Ertz did at the time, and it's a more physical aspect. And it's nice to see him finally get the respect that Eagles fans have known he deserves for some time. He opens up everything for Jalen Hurts with, the defense having to focus on AJ and Devontae, and then there's Goedert in the middle of the field. And, you know, as you can say about several guys on this offense, it's the best season of his NFL career, even after he missed 5 games this season. Number 6, Landon Dickerson. One of my favorite players on this Eagles team. And, you know, Dickerson was named to his first Pro Bowl this year, whatever the hell that is now, whatever that even means in a sophomore season. And he's so fun to watch when the Birds are running the ball, and he boasts the NFL's second highest pass block win rate this season. Let's crack into the top 5 with A.J. Brown at number 5. He's the most talented receiver the Eagles have ever had. Not recently, not now, in fucking franchise history. Bar none. Bottom line, in my opinion. AJ set the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season, and his size will be a problem for Kansas City's young secondary. He's lethal on those quick slants underneath, and I think we'll see that a handful of times early on in this game to ensure that Chris Jones and Frank Clark don't get going early on. Speaking of, number 4, Chris Jones. Look, he's this year's Aaron Donald, and he's been on an absolute tear, bringing Joe Burrow down twice in the AFC Championship game. What makes him potentially more of a problem than Aaron Donald is that he not only lines up inside, but Steve Spagnuolo will move him to the edge as well. So Chris Jones can wreak havoc from anywhere along the defensive line. Number 3, Lane Johnson. Far and away the best right tackle in the NFL, and my guy hasn't allowed a sack since the Obama administration. He's playing injured with a torn groin, but it doesn't even seem to matter. Just check Nick Bosa's stat line from the NFC Championship game. 65 still every bit as dominant as he is when he's 100% healthy, and he's still capable of eliminating your best player on defense on every single down. Number 2, Jalen Hurts. If Hurts doesn't win MVP, we fucking riot, okay? Honestly, I can't remember a player of this significance for the Eagles that showed such massive improvement from one year to another, especially as a passer. He can beat you through the air. He can beat you on the ground. It doesn't matter. And what makes this team so good is that Hurts doesn't even need to light up the stat sheet for the Birds to win convincingly. Just see the divisional round against the Giants and the NFC Championship against San Francisco. That said, obviously, he's still absolutely necessary. Number 1, Jason Kelce. And maybe I'm being generous here because I've got a total man crush on Kelce, but I honestly believe he's the best player at his position here. He's as good as anybody on the move. He's tenacious and pass pro, and he's as fiery as anybody that'll be on the field in this game. He earned his 5th first-team All-Pro selection this year and finished in the top 10 in both run block win rate and pass block win rate. He's going to be somebody that goes a long way towards neutralizing Chris Jones in this matchup. So there's your countdown. Eagles offense against Chiefs defense. And look, I get it. The optics. So many Eagles in the top 10. But like I said, it's not a list of who I think will have the biggest impact in the game or even necessarily based off of the matchup. It's purely an exercise to see where the talent stacks up on both sides of the ball and who I view as simply the most talented and purely the best players on either side of the ball. And if you think I'm biased, then check back tomorrow when we'll look at the All-22 for the Chiefs offense up against the Eagles defense. So you got any thoughts on the rankings? Do you have any rankings of your own? Leave them below in the comments section, and I'll be sure to check them out and respond. It's Super Bowl week, Eagles fans. And we're going to continue to bring you content covering Super Bowl 57 leading up to kickoff. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any Super Bowl content. And after that, we've got a shit ton coming your way on the NFL draft. Don't forget about the flagship, the Grease Pole Podcast, which comes your way each and every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And is also simulcast here on our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell an Eagles fan about us, please, won't you? We'll see you next time. As always, go Birds.